Hello and welcome to Star Citizen. This video is going to be walking you through the entirety of what steps you need to take in joining the universe that is Star Citizen. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not going to drag feet for too long here. First and foremost, you are on the menu screen at this point. This is after you've downloaded the game. It's been updated. You have pressed launch after logging into the launcher, and now you are sitting at this screen. There's going to be some moments here in the beginning of starting the game that is going to be a little bit laggy while it loads all the shaders. So do expect there to be some times, especially once you actually get into the game, where it seems like, wow, why is this running terribly? Your first load ever in this game is always going to be the most struggling load. It's going to take probably, with today's systems, only a few minutes, but if you do have a little bit of an older rig, it could take 10, 15 minutes depending on, what type of drive you have. It is recommended, and I would say required, to put this game on an SSD. So if you don't have this on a solid state disk, do know that you will probably load into some issues. Now, if you don't have an SSD, try to upgrade as soon as possible. First and foremost, instead of going into these, we're going to go ahead and start with the options menu here. This game has probably some of the most advanced hotkeys, key bindings, settings all around when it comes to a video game. It's probably not the most advanced, but it's insane how many options you actually do have, especially if you're using a joystick or other means and not just a mouse and keyboard. Today's tutorial will be just with the mouse and keyboard, as I think entering Star Citizen for the first time, you should definitely just get yourself familiar with the mouse and keyboard and then go on from there. On the main menu here, you can go ahead and keep hints on if you'd like, or you can turn them off if you feel like any of the videos you've been watching on YouTube or this video answers any questions you might have. Control hints are also going to be something I would leave on. It'll appear on the right side of the screen once you are in game. I'm going to move on to the graphics settings, no matter what type of system you have. I say no matter what. Make sure quality is at very high. You can mess around with terrain tessellation and scattered object distance, screen space shadows, planet volumetric clouds. Now, if you want to have beautiful, scenes and clouds and stuff that are present on the moons or planets that have clouds, this is something you want to keep on. But if your rig isn't the, most up-to-date rig, go ahead and turn that off. It'll help save performance. Field of view, mess with that as you please, see what works best for you. Motion blur, off. V-sync, off. Sharpening and chromatic aberration, down to 0. Film grain, no. And session information QR code, if this is put to yes, just swap it over to no. You don't need it right now. If you run into a bug, you can turn that back on to allow, you to kind of take a screenshot and then them to figure out, the developers to figure out where and what happened. It'll appear on your screen. From here, make sure you save and move on. Oh, and if you want to know why I'm telling you to put this on very high, it's because the game is very CPU intensive. So if you put it on very high, it's actually going to take some of that and push it towards the graphics card a little bit more and relieve some of the stress from the CPU. If you put that at low, you're not doing yourself any favors. Your performance will probably be worse at low on a lot of these settings. So keep that in mind. It's obviously something you want to play around with if you have an older system, but I would always recommend, especially on the older systems, to put this at the highest settings to allow the computer or the CPU to do some of the work, but also send some of that to the GPU as well. Moving on over to audio. Obviously, I have mine low for just the YouTube videos that I do. You can go ahead and mess with your settings here. And then, like I said, you have minor control settings here. And then if you go into key bindings, and you're going to see this keyboard on screen while I do what I'm doing here, this is going to explain all your keys. Now, it's best to go into the advanced control customization here on the bottom left and kind of look through what you want to look through. And there are tons of options. Each one of these breaks open into more and more things. And you can change every single thing you see here to whatever fits you best. From self-destruct to opening the doors on your ship while you're in the cockpit, to locking onto other targets and firing missiles. Everything will be here. So you don't have to really get into this yet. It's good to get an idea of the default settings. But if there is a particular way that you like certain key bindings to be from other video games, it might be a good idea to check this out before you enter in. Next is your comms, FOIP, and head tracking. Here is where you're going to mess with your settings when it comes to quite a few different things. First off is your audio in-game when it comes to talking on a mic. If you want to use any sort of VoIP and talk to people, this is where you're going to make the settings change here. As well as your FOIP, which is basically like, well, there's quite a few things here. You got head tracking, which if you have a camera, it can actually enable head tracking there. Or if you have something like the Tobii eye tracker, you can mess with the settings on that as well. And there's also the ability to turn on, if you have like just a camera of any sort really that's attached to your computer, you can actually turn on like a face scanning thing that replicates whenever you talk on a mic in game, that your lips in game will actually move. It's pretty crazy. Pretty cool. I don't use it really, but it's cool. Let's go ahead and back out of the settings menu and we'll go over the main menu here. On the right side, you do have your friends screen, which you can add friends, see who's online, see who's offline, and that's where that would be located. You'll have some notifications here as well, so if you do get online with a friend and they send you an invite before you join a server, it'll appear here. Now, it is best to get into a group before you join a server if you plan on getting in a group with a friend, because once you do and they press play game, it's going to drag everybody in that group into the same server instead of you having to fight to get into a server that your friend is on. But if they are on a server already, you can just go to their name, right-click, and, well, you don't want to remove them, but you can right-click if they were online and press Join Friend if the server's not full. So that's always good to know. Moving over here, you do have two options on the main menu screen. This is the Persistent Universe, and this is Arena Commander. Persistent Universe is pretty much the main experience here, where the entire universe is just at your hands. It's the game. The Arena Commander is considered something you would go into if you want to test things out, or just have some fun playing some team deathmatch, or some squadron battles, to duel, or just to free fly in a smaller area. And it also has turned into a very big testing ground for other things like the new master modes. So this is definitely a great thing to do if you just want some sit back and play some gun rush or team deathmatch on foot or some battle royale. This would be where you'd want to go. Now back to the Persistent Universe. This is, once again, the main attraction. You're going to go ahead and click on that. Once you do, you will be presented with this screen here. Look at that. Crazy. At this screen is where you can choose the character that you want to make, from male or female. You will pick whichever one suits you best. From there, you are going to go ahead and change whatever your head is. And begin blending. And then at this point, you can go ahead and cycle through other heads on the left side. You're going to be looking through it, and you're going to be like, oh, you know, I like this a little bit better. I'm going to blend this. So as you can see here, this starts to change. Now, this system will be getting changed sometime soon. They are going to be adding a different character creator, but as of right now, this is the 2024 beginner walkthrough. So this is just demonstrating what we have at our hands on January 4th, 2024. And as you can see, you can really modify quite a bit if I want my guy's nose to really... I don't. Maybe something more like this. Let's see. That's a little bit better. I'm not too certain that I like his... There we go. Let's go with the chin. And for the sake of this, we'll just... You know, there's something bothering me about his cheek structure here. There we go. A lot better. From here, you can go ahead and go to the brow. Well, eyes. Change color of your eyes. As you can see, it changes here. And like I said, if you want to change some of the aspects about how the shapes are and everything, just blend it there. Ears, cheeks, nose, these are all the things that you're already clicking on the head. You can cycle through other sources. And then if you go ahead and move over to hair, you can go ahead and cycle through whatever hair options you might want to look through. Interesting, not bad. I'll go with it. And I'll do... Yeah, you know what? Actually, that looks pretty good. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and review. You're going to be like, okay, I like it, I don't like it. You know, change however you want to change it. At this point, you're going to go ahead and hit accept and save. Now you're going to be brought to this screen, and your screen may look a little bit different than mine, as I've already entered the universe before, but you're going to be picking a starting location. Now, there are 4 different starting locations right off the bat. You start with the options of Lorville on Hurston, or you have Orizon on Crusader, you have New Babbage on Microtech, or you have Area 18 on the planet of... Wow, I'm just having a really big brain freeze. But Area 18 is on the planet of ArcCorp, as it says here. Wow, I'm like, hello. Basically, pick which one you feel like is going to just be a good starting point. And you're going to be like, well, I don't know, where do I start? Honestly, if I were to have an opinion on this and help sway you, I would either pick Area 18 or New Babbage. And the reason being is they are the newer locations. Well, New Babbage is the newest, one of the newer locations, as well as Orizon. But Orizon and Lorville tend to run a little bit worse, and I feel like Area 18 and New Babbage run better. So those would be some good options. But honestly, they all have their merits. I probably wouldn't go to Lorville right now. They seem to have a real wind issue. Half your walk is walking through a windstorm, and when that happens, you could get blown over. It's quite interesting. Once you've picked your server, you're going to be thrown into the game, which I'm going to go ahead and go to now. And now you have entered your habitation area. This is considered your hab, the place that you're going to spawn in initially on the planet that you chose. And so what you're going to want to do from here is you're going to be like, well, what do I do? Honestly, you can just press one of the walking keys like D, W, A, S, and you should move out of bed. If you'd like I'm going to, just press F12 to take the chat off screen until you can kind of get used to what you're doing. And so you're not getting distracted by people talking. That does remove the chat. At this point, you can look around, kind of see, wow, this is really awesome. Just investigate a little bit, explore. It is really cool. This is your habitation room on the planet that you chose. For me, Area 18. Every habitation room on every station, most stations look kind of similar, but in most of the city areas look different, much different. From here, you are out of bed. One way to also get out of bed is to press Y on your keyboard. And that's also the way you get out of your ship seat, but we'll get to that later. Once you are out of the bed, you'll see you are physicalized. You are standing here. You can go ahead and press F4 on your keyboard and then press and hold Z to look around and see your character in the third person. It's pretty cool. If you let go of Z, you'll just be moving your character around, so make sure you continue to hold that and you can kind of see what's going on. There is a firearm on your right side. It is the arc light pistol, just a basic firearm. And then on the left side, you do have one med pen. This med pen will be a lifesaver if you ever injure yourself while you're walking around, or if you get shot at, or if you just get hurt some way or another. You will press C on your keyboard to bring this out, and then once it's out and in your hand, you're just going to press the mouse key or mouse button 1, and it'll inject it into you. Now, this is for your basic injuries. If you have something more extreme, you'll probably need a medical bed. Now, from here, we're going to continue to stay in the hab for a quick moment. If you press I on your keyboard, this will open up your inventory. This inventory is whatever you might have when you first spawn in, and this is how you can also remove stuff and add stuff to your character. So from the get-go, if I wanted to, I can remove my undersuit, which also removes my helmet, or I can just leave it on, and I could change into regular clothing if I were to go to the clothing section. Over time, you will build more and more clothing that is permanently bound to your account, or you can just go buy some in a store. It's very cheap in the game. just using credits. And then you also have access to your armor, which right now I have filters on. So if you hit filters, you can hit armor, scroll through your options. Same with undersuits. You will need an undersuit on before you can put armor on, as well as your helmet. So now at this point, you can change your helmets. All you have to do is click and drag and swap it over into that little dot there. Or you can right click and press swap. Or you can typically double click. A little fidgety on that though. As well as weapons. This can also be where you get your weapons that you have stored. So you'll go ahead and click, drag, place it onto the circle, and there you go. It is where all your inventory is going to be when you first spawn in. Whatever city you spawn in is considered your home base, so anything that you ever add to your account on your hangar or your gear will be spawning here initially. Now, if you buy something at a store, you'll usually buy it at that location. And it'll add it to that location's inventory, or to your ship's inventory if you pick that. As you can see, I just walked through the door, and to do so, you're going to go ahead and hold the F key. Now, I can't get back in, but you would hold the F key on your keyboard, and that's going to bring out the mouse. Once you do that, you keep holding the F key, you can click on certain buttons, and that'll allow you to access doors and other items. You're going to go ahead and walk around. Now, as you can see, I'm walking fast, but I'm not running. I'm walking slow, very slow. This is because I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse, and I'm scrolling it back to walk slow, and there we go, I'm walking slow, I don't need to touch anymore, or I scroll it forward, and it ups my walk speed. This is good to know, so depending on what you're doing, you can move slower, or you can move faster. You want a cinematic experience, that's definitely good to have. Going back to the F key, you'll hold F, you'll click right on the call elevator button, it'll say elevator called, and then you'll just wait for your elevator. Pretty neat, huh? These interaction systems are going to be changing over time, but as of right now, this is just what it is. Once you are in the elevator, you can go ahead and see here. If you click on your mouse wheel, it'll zoom in on the pad. At this point, you can scroll wheel, and it doesn't move your camera. And you could pick a different floor, but you don't need to. Just go ahead and pick ground floor. Then you can let go of F and make your way through once it gets to its location. Now, I will tell you, there is 0 loading screens in this video game. So once you load in that initial time, that's it. You're not loading in at any point, not even in the elevator, not when you're in your ship, not when you're quantum jumping, nothing. There is no loading screens. So be wary of that. Depending on what you're doing, you are always at risk. Once you walk out of your habitation area and you start making your way through certain other areas, look around, explore, have fun. You're going to get lost. As much as they try to make these things easy to navigate, especially with some of the new signage, it's definitely pretty easy to go ahead and get lost. Now, if you spawned here at Area 18, straight off the bat, you do have a weapon store here. You can go over there and buy some different weapons and ammo if you have credits available to you, as well as a outfit store. But we're going to go ahead and continue this way. As you saw, right over there was the hab area. I walked this way, and I'm going to continue. You have entered the main hub of Area 18, if this is where you spawned. And from here, you're going to go ahead and go this way. And trust me, explore around a bit. Go look around. Anything that says TDD, Trade Development Division, that is the location you will go to trade a lot of your goods whenever you're doing anything with trading, which I will also step on in another video. No matter where you spawned, you're going to have to find your way to a tram, or it's just typically a tram. They consider this a tram as well. You're going to go ahead and wait for your ride to go to whichever spaceport that you're at. Once this gets here, try not to worry about how fidgety it is. You'll be okay. Just go ahead and stand on in here and wait. As you see, you can look and use the F key again to go ahead and sit if you wanted to. I prefer to stand, so I'm going to go ahead and stand. Now, while you're on your tram, you can go ahead and look through some of your other option menus here. Let's go ahead and start with, if I were to hold the F key and then hit the mouse button 1 and 2 at the same time, I'm going to open up the inner thought system. Now, this system is where you can control certain things, like going into your personal inventory if you decided you didn't want to press I on the keyboard. as well as going to actions and having some actions here. From player, you can go ahead and do certain things like wipe your visor helmet, which also is left Alt X if you don't want to go into that to do that. You can also go into item actions and equipped or unequipped your helmet, enable your flashlight, and it shows you the key binding next to it too. So if you were to enable your flashlight, you can also turn it off with the T key. Now, if you were to go in here and do actions, player, emote, you can go through many pages of different emotes that do work in game. I'm going to go ahead and exit this by right-clicking multiple times, so we can go ahead and walk out of this tram. Now, once you're out of the tram, you're going to continue to make your way towards the spaceport hangar area, where there's going to be what they call aSOP terminals. But while we're on their way there, I'm going to be exploring a little bit. None of this stuff is really useful yet, but it will be soon. So kind of get used to seeing what you do see. Starting off with these computers in front of you. These ones here are actually useful. This is where you're going to go. If you have a crime stat of 2 or lower, it'll show up on the right side of your screen. And you will be able to log in and pay off any of those fines, clearing that crime stat. If your crime stat is 3 bars or higher, you will not be able to clear it. You will have to go to a Korea space station, and I probably said that wrong, but Korea? Yeah. But it's a space station located near a moon in the Crusader system to wipe that clear. Now, once you're standing here, if you look to your left, and all home locations do have ship rentals. So once you start making some money, you can actually rent some ships. Hold F, click on the screen, and you can go ahead and see what ships are rentable at this location. Now, when you click on a ship, and let's say you want to rent the Aurora, you could choose for 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, or 30 days. If I wanted to do it for 7 days, it'd say that it's going to cost $13,000 to rent. You just go ahead and hit rent ship, and then it'll be on your aSOP terminal where you would get to fly that ship for a while. Let's go ahead and make our way over there. That's where you're going to find the ship that you pledged for when you joined us here in the universe. As you can see, it says hangars. You're not going to just instantly run to an elevator door. Nope, you're going to make a left turn and go here to your fleet manager. Press F and click.
Welcome to the aSOP vehicle retrieval system.
From here, you're going to have whatever ships that you did, purchase for your package, or if you added more ships on from that point, this is where they're always going to be. Whether you spent real money or credits in game, this is where the ships will be. And then you would just go ahead and, let's just say I wanted to get my ship. I'm going to hit deliver, request delivery. At this point, go ahead and press go back to the ship and hit retrieve.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
It's going to tell you exactly where that ship is now. So all you have to do is, it doesn't matter which elevator, you're going to go to an elevator and you're going to go and get your ship. Now, before you do that, I want you to take a step back, because I want you to realize that you do have to focus on other things other than just running around and going into your spaceship. And what I mean by that is that you do have certain things like liquids, food, and paying attention to pretty much all of that. Health, oxygen, don't really need to worry about that stuff too much unless you forget your helmet. But it's always good to be prepared if you're, hungry or thirsty. So you could go, typically where all the trash is on the ground, and buy yourself some drinks or food and keep it on your person. To do that, don't hit quick buy. It'll put that right in your hand, but just go ahead and hit more info and confirm purchase. It'll tell you how much it costs, and it'll take that money out. Once you do that, go ahead and hit exit, and then it'll be right there in your inventory. You just go ahead and press I, and then you will go to sustenance, and there it is. Now, from this point, you'd want to add it to your character, but you don't have any armor, so you can't add it directly to them. You could add it to their hand if you wanted to, but what are you going to do if you have your helmet on, right? So you'd want to make sure if you want to drink this, go ahead and click on your helmet, drag it into your inventory, and now you can drink it. Press and hold the mouse 1 button, and you can let go if you like. You don't have to drink all of it. So right there, I only drank half. I'm going to put this back on, and I'm going to left click and drag this back into my inventory. This is just keeping it on the inventory of your location, so area 18. If you want to, oh, by the way, make sure you put your helmet back on, always. Grab your helmet, put it back on. If you want to be able to carry certain things, you will need to go to an armor store and buy armor. So every piece of armor holds things differently. But if I was to left click on that leg armor and watch my character go completely out of focus there, it'll add a personal space or capacity like a backpack, like pockets, etc., to where you can actually put items on your character. So make sure you go ahead and add whatever you'd like to add armor wise, like that. Once you've added your armor to your character, you can go ahead and press I and drag stuff over to the location once it's ready to go. And there you go. You'll be able to store it on you. You can also buy backpacks and stuff, which hold even greater amount, of course. And your ship is still waiting for you. As you can see, it's on screen. You got like a digital HUD here that shows you your ship. Move over to the elevators. Click on Call Elevator. You'll know that you're at Hangar 2, so go ahead and hit Hangar 2. And wait for those elevator doors to shut. Like I said, no loading screen, so you can be doing stuff right now if you wanted to. Okay, once you're in your hangar here, you're going to see your ship as you walk out. Wow, awesome. I love it. Now, before you get into your ship, I want to talk to you about the Mobi Glass. It's basically today's version of the cell phone. So if you press F1, it's going to be everything you need for everything. This is going to be your main hub of doing stuff in this game. You're going to see your balance of how much money you have. You're going to see any sort of information for, again, money, health, tracked missions, all sorts of different stuff. First one we're going to go through is the comm link. This here is where you have people talking, and then you also have other things like the friends area, as well as pending maybe notifications. And then when you're in your ship, you can also go to this to request takeoff or landing. Now, the second screen is going to be your vehicle loadout manager. This is where you're going to go to modify your ship. The only way you can do that is once your ship is delivered, but not retrieved. You cannot have your ship spawned out here on the hangar pad to modify it. So right now I have a couple ships that aren't actually, they're just delivered. So if I was to go to my C1 Spirit, I can modify certain things on my ship. If I had other paints or other things I wanted to upgrade, like the quantum drive or the shield generator, as well as vehicle weapons. This is where you would do all that. Moving on to the next one, you have knickknacks. This is going to be the currently hardest system to use if you want to find like stuff that you've left somewhere. So if I were to open up Crew L5, which is a space station, and see what I have over there, nothing. Okay, good to know. I'm happy that that's there. But if I were to open up, let's say, Microtech and do Port Tressler, also again, nothing. Delvin, nothing. It seems to be I just have a lot of options here. And here, if I go to New Babbage, it shows me I do have quite a few ship weapons just sitting in the inventory there. So this will be where you go if you want to look at, what you have in your inventory across the system. Moving on to the next one is the Skyline, which is basically it's your map. It's the current map in the game, and this is how you're going to jump around and go to locations. If you left click and hold, you'll be able to move it around. If you use the scroll wheel, you'll be able to zoom. But usually you just double click on a location, and then you're going to be zoomed in a little bit. Here's the moons around ArcCorp. So you can physically go to either one of these locations and land wherever you want. There's no loading screens, there's nothing, and there's quite a few areas of interest around that you can go ahead and pick up cargo, or there's potentially missions that take you to them. Same with, like, if I was to double click on ArcCorp and zoom in, there's a few areas here. It's a city planet, so every square inch of this planet is covered in city, buildings and all. And this is where I'm at currently, Area 18. I'm going to go ahead and scroll wheel back, get out of that here really quick, and that is the star map. So with this is going to be something you use, and it will be upgraded this year according to what we hear. So prepare for that. It's going to be much nicer. Moving on, you got the MO Trader, which is just where you want to go if you want to send money to somebody. You just hit begin, type in their name, and then send them whatever much money you want to. I hit the X there. Let's go ahead and go back into that. After the MO Trader, you do have the Contracts Manager. This is where you're going to go to accept any missions that are available out there. Now, it just depends what you want to do. As a beginning person in this, it might be good if you just start off with a simple delivery mission. That is your best bet. Just click delivery, click this one, and then hit accept offer. But before you do, make sure you check where it's at so you know where you're going. Even though you will get digital markers just like you did with the ship in your hangar. This says to pick up a package from the Shubin mining facility on Sal-2, or the Shubin mining facility Sal-2 on Lyria. At this, you would take it to the Humboldt mines on Lyria as well. And there you go. You would complete that and get 3,000 credits. Now, these beginning missions aren't worth much. And the more you get into this game, the more you'll see there are many missions out there worth much, much more. Like this is a bounty, then that's a real person. So this is asking me to track this real person and take him out for 25,000, which will send him to actual prison. It's actually pretty cool. Now from here, you can also see personal missions. These ones are ones that aren't available to, well, I mean, they're available to everybody, but nobody can really take them from you. These are just ones that are given to everybody. But the ones under general, everybody has access to. So if someone were to accept it, typically it could potentially just drop off here. You won't see it again. Anything you have accepted will be here. And so you can track the mission and whatnot. So if I were to go back to the delivery and accept it, you'll see it'll take you here and it'll say this is where it's at. From here, you can abandon it if you're like, I don't want to do this. Let's move on. Or you can untrack it and track a different mission. From here, you have the history area, which will show you some of the history of your past missions. And then you also have the beacons tab. Now, under the beacons tab, you can go ahead and create a beacon if you like. If you get stranded, or if you need medical assistance, or if you need an escort, and then, destination, payoff or payment amount, all that kind of stuff you can handle from there. The next thing on the mobiGlas is your vehicle maintenance services. Once you're in your vehicle, if you were to get into the pilot seat and then press F1, go to this screen, it's going to show you a bunch of options to repair, rearm, and refuel. This is where you're going to go to take care of your ship once you've traveled from one destination to another or had some combat, whatever you've done with your ship. This is where you're going to go to make sure you restock it. Pretty self-explanatory. Moving on, you got your journal. The journal, not much to it right now. Honestly, you can just look through that and kind of be like, oh, cool. And after that, you got Delphi. This is just the reputation of when you do missions. You'll either get negative reputation or positive reputation. If you're out there killing the good guys, you'll get negative reputation. If you're out there killing the bad guys, you'll get positive. Same with all these other things that you do with missions and everything. This is where you will see that. That is the mobiGlas. If you hit this button here, it takes you back to the main screen. From here, you can either press F1 or just hit the X on the screen and get that closed out. And as you can see, I did pick up that mission. So that's to Kovalec's evaluation. That's the mission. And to go ahead and collect that package. So we'll go ahead and go to our ship. Which, like I've said, once you've called your ship, you go out to it. And depending on what ship you have, you just got to go ahead and explore how you get into it. It's going to usually have a marker of where the door is. And then from here, you can go ahead and just get in and start flying. I'm going to try to shut the door here. There we go. This button's always a little fidgety with this ship. Go ahead and take my elevator here up to the top floor where the pilot chair is. Now, if you did get the Soylent ship here, I'm terrible with pronunciation of my words right now. If you did get this ship, it's pretty neat, but it does take off differently, so do know that. It's not going to be your typical space bar to, lift off. It's just pressing W to go forward. So be careful, because your hangar doors might not be in front of you. They might be that way. Let's go ahead and turn the engines on using the U key, or actually the power systems using the U key. You'll see that your power systems are now online. From here, you'll hit your engines key, which is the I key. And that's the simple way of doing that. There is other options as well, as you can hit the right Alt and R key to do a flight ready status, which will do both of that for you. Or you can go and press F and just find the flight ready on your dash for your ship, and that will also do it too. But I just prefer to use the U key for power and the I key for engines, and you're all set. From here, you can go ahead and press the left Alt and N.
You are clear to launch.
That requests takeoff or landing. It's a very quick way of doing it without having to go to your Mobi-Glass, and from that point, you can go ahead and take off. So I'm going to tell you something right now. You can control the thrust of your ship, the power that goes to it. It's using the cruise control dial. If you can see that on my screen, right here, this little square on the bottom here, it's going to be going up and down right now. That's because I'm using my scroll wheel to control how much power I'm going to be putting into my engines once I want to go. I'm going to bring that all the way to the bottom and then just go up once. So I go slow. And then I'm going to go ahead and rotate because this ship is different. Typically you'll be facing this way, so all you'll do is hit spacebar to lift up, and then you'll go forward with W. Now make sure you control your speed so you don't fly into a door, but now that the doors are open, I'm going to go ahead and press the N key. And that raised my landing gear. Now once you've raised your landing gear, you should be all set. I'm going to continue to go out slow, just so I don't hit anything. And then once you're out, go ahead and aim up a little bit and use the scroll wheel and push that all the way up if you like.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Once you're out of the hangar, you don't have to worry about certain aerodynamics at this point. You can go ahead and just let go of the, the ignition or the thrust and just hover, look around, admire the game that is, and yes, you can go wherever you want and go as far as you want. There's no loading screens, there's no boundaries. But for now, let's go ahead and point back up, and let's get moving. Now, instead of just holding the W key down, you can definitely have a cruise control, and that is set to whatever that little square is located. So right now, mine's all the way at the top. I'm going to go ahead and hit left Alt C, and you'll see that little arrow appear next to it. That is your cruise control. Now you can let go of the keyboard and you don't have to hold the throttle in anymore. It'll just go for you. You do have to continue using your mouse to aim the ship. Once you're at a certain altitude, on some planets it's different, but once you're at a certain altitude you can go ahead and slow it down. If you just press one of the throttle keys, it'll take off the cruise control. And then you can engage your quantum drive. The quantum drive is how you will jump, like big distances fast. If you go ahead and press B, it'll give you all the options that are available to you. And if they're blue, you can jump to them. If they're red, you cannot. They're either in the way, something's in the way of it, or you're just at a distance. So we have the objective over here at Lyria, so I'm going to go over there. I'm going to wait for my drive to spool and calibrate. Once that's done, I'm going to press and hold the B button. And there you go. You are in quantum travel right now, heading to the moon of Lyria, or whichever moon you wanted to go to, wherever you're at. From this point, your quantum drive system might still be on. Just go ahead and press the B button. And you can rotate around, you can move, kind of see what's going on. This is a moon. It's pretty cool. You can go anywhere on it and land and do whatever you want. Pretty sweet. Now to fire your guns is, of course, the left mouse button. and some ships right mouse button as well. If you want to use your missiles, just go ahead and click on the middle mouse button and you'll have your missiles appear on screen on the right. If you hit the G key, you will add how many missiles you want to fire in like, you'll just add however many missiles you want to fire at one time. So right now this ship can only do 3 in a row. So at this point I'll lock onto a target by pressing the T key. And once I hit that key, when there's a target available, you'll see that it'll start to lock on, putting green circles around it. And once they're green, you're good to go, good to fire. Let's go ahead and pull off that. I'm going to go ahead and hit B again, which is going to take me to the quantum drive system here. Now, you could do it this way, or you can hit F2, see where you're at, see where the mission's located, and you can also track it here. Click on the location, hit set route. That'll get rid of all these other options. So if you do it that way, it does clear out the screen a little bit, making it a little bit easier. Press and hold B, jump to it once you're ready to go. Now you're out of the quantum and you're ready to go to the location to pick up your package. So let's get over there. Be very, very careful on these moons with your speed because they don't really have much for atmosphere. So you can go pretty much as fast as your ship can go. And that's very dangerous because no starship in this game can really stop that fast. It goes a lot faster forward than it does backwards. If you don't ever run yourself into a moon at full speed by accident, I'll be very surprised. So you'll learn that lesson quick. Make sure you continue to keep an eye on where you have your thrust set and back it down when you get closer. And then when you get to location, make sure you press your landing gear button, which again is the N key. Now for this ship, it's a little bit different, obviously. I can't land the normal way a ship would. Normally, you would just be like this, and you just go ahead and park it down and land. With this ship, I've got to go ahead and face it up and bring it down. Says it was complete. I'm going to go ahead and hit I to turn off my engines, and I'm going to go ahead and leave my power on so I won't touch that. And then I'm going to go ahead and press and hold the Y key. You'll be taken out of your seat, and you can go ahead and exit your ship. If you don't have your helmet on, you'll notice pretty quickly once you get out of the ship, you'll start coughing, gasping for air. Get back into your ship as quickly as you can. Once you are here, you can go ahead and look around, enjoy the scenery, really see just how amazing this game is, and move on into the area where you have your package. Sometimes the package will just be sitting on the shelf. Sometimes you'll have to pick it out from some other location. But typically, you'll just go ahead and click F, hold it, and then click on carry. And there you go. You're good to bring this to your ship. Once you're back to your ship, you can go ahead and just put the package on the ground somewhere by pressing and holding F, looking at the package and just pressing place. Or you can just press and hold the left mouse button and just look for where you want to set it. Make sure you close your door. And let's go ahead and drop this package off at the location it needs to go to. On moons, typically, you only need to be about 2,000 meters away from the surface before you can go ahead and quantum jump to the location. I'll go ahead and show you that now. I'm going to go ahead and just take right off. Now, once I'm at the altitude here, I'll go ahead and just turn towards the planet, find my marker, and I'm just going to kind of stop where I'm at. Press B. I'm going to go ahead and lock the quantum on it. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and press the B button and hold it once I am completely spooled, which is right about now. And it'll go ahead and slingshot me around the moon. You're now out of quantum and you're heading to your package drop-off. Once you get there, you'll just grab your package, head inside, and put it where it tells you to put it. Make sure you slow it down a little bit. Remember what I said. Comes up on you quick, doesn't it? Started to red out there for a second. I was putting so much thrust, so much reverse thrust there. If you do see a white target, that typically means that ship is unoccupied. You don't have to worry about that, but you could press T to lock onto it and get an idea of what ship it is. This one is an Aurora MR, also a starter ship. I'm going to go ahead and hit left Alt T, which will remove that ship from my targeting. And it looks like there's no pads here to land, so I'm just going to go ahead and have to land this one a little bit differently. When you are at places like this, if it's got an armistice zone or not, you'll be able to tell on the right side of your screen. This one's within SAT range, but there is no circle with a cross through it with the bullet symbol in it, so you're not in an armistice zone, which means that if there is somebody here, they can shoot at you. So always be cautious of that. When you're in that satellite range, any sort of action you take against another player will give you a crime stat. And it doesn't matter if the player's on or not. If you were to attack a ship or whatnot, you could definitely get punished for it. If you get a crime stat and you get a bounty on you, somebody could track you and take you out. If they were to do that, you would end up in prison to serve time. So, don't do that. And this will be the first mission that you've completed as a new player in Star Citizen. Hopefully it went smooth. Let's go ahead and click on drop off. Go ahead and wait for this door to open. Press and hold F and click place. And there you go. You just made 3,000 credits. Look how easy that was. It'll complete the mission, and once it does, you'll get the credits and you'll be all set. I hope this beginner's tutorial helped. I felt like I was all over the place, but ADHD and writing or doing a tutorial is just something else. And I don't do this scripted at all. I do this just based off of my experience in the game and kind of knowing where you need to go initially. Now, there is a million things more in this game that you'll learn over time. A lot of it is just with playing and experience. But I will be making additional videos, kind of breaking down certain details. Shorter, much shorter videos that go into like the food process, the armor buying, the gun buying, and also the prison system and things like that. But this is generally just your initial video showing you how to start in Star Citizen. I hope you'd enjoyed. At this point, I did. I love making these videos. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments down below. If you have any questions, if I missed something, I would love to know because I will cover it in another video. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Star Citizen, and I will see you in the next one.